Hello, welcome back to the channel. Here's something I've been thinking about doing for a while. I'm going to do a guide to playing hardcore. This is a fairly recent save slot. These two characters are not hardcore. That's my Eye of Reckoning Fire Templar. This is a Flames of Ignafa thing that I'm working on. Ignore that for now. If you want to play in hardcore, this is what I recommend you do for your first hardcore character. Create a character. Call him Immortal. Check the hardcore box. Check the veteran box, because that's what you want to do. Create this guy, right? Go into veteran difficulty main campaign in hardcore. I absolutely recommend that you do this on your first character, because this will get you over a bit of an initial hurdle. Skip through the cutscene, you've seen that a million times before. If not, I don't know why you're even considering playing hardcore. Okay, so you take your hardcore character, run him out of DC, stop on the bridge, grab the lawn out, get yourself an instant 50 XP, get yourself set up so you're ready to go, and then stand here and let these guys kill you. Or rather, let these guys get your health low enough so that you start to panic. Okay? Feel that rush. And then bait this lot down here. Get on this boat. Actually, let's kill someone first. Right, so you're level 2. Pick a mastery, it doesn't really matter which one, the strongest one in the game will do, put some points into it, and you feel like you're achieving something. Jump on this boat, nip across to Hargate's Isle, and go and find a whole load of slith and aggro them. And let them kill you. Only this time don't quit out, just let it happen. You are dead, okay? This is what's going to happen to you when you play hardcore. The sooner you get over that hurdle, the better. You want to see that screen. You want to see you are dead and you want to think, oh dear, and you want to click OK. And you want to see your dead character standing there. You can't do anything with that guy now. He's gone. The only option you've got is to delete him. Don't delete him. Leave him there. So you have an immortal soldier who's dead, right? Just watch that for a few seconds and think, yeah, that's what I don't want happening again. Then start properly. You can call her anything you like. Doesn't really matter. Now let's go in properly. Let's not go into veteran difficulty, okay? You want to get as far as you can get in hardcore. Don't go into veteran difficulty. If you want the challenge, go into veteran difficulty, but don't come run into me crying when you find that you're dead, okay? This isn't going to be, I'm not going to pussyfoot around with this. If you want to play in hardcore, you want to play in hardcore for a reason. It's probably to get a bunch of hardcore achievements. If you want to play hardcore like a rogue light, where you're just going to run around recklessly and die and then create a new character and maybe never get beyond level 20, that's okay if that's what you want to do. If you want to play hardcore and get to level 100 and kill as many of the hard bosses as you can kill, keep your level 100 character alive, farm a bunch of stuff, have an entire roster of hardcore characters that you're messing around with, I will give you some advice that I've learned over the years and makes me take the game a lot more seriously than I should do, but that's just me. If you think all this information is going to be boring and you don't want to listen, that's fine as well. The best advice you can get from playing hardcore really is to play hardcore and find out whether you like playing hardcore. Because it's one of those things where if you make a mistake and your character dies after you've put, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 hours into that character, how you deal with that is pretty much, you know, will you uninstall the game and go outside and get some fresh air, or will you just create another character and think, oh well, it doesn't matter. People are different. People get different things out of playing the game. I don't play hardcore to show off and go, ooh, look at me, because it's a single player game. Most of my best adventures in hardcore have happened when I've been alone sitting here playing the game and I've just looked at the screen and thought, yeah, it was all right. So, you know, you're not playing hardcore to be a hero of gaming or a hero of YouTube or the internet. I wouldn't anyway. If you can get to level 100 and farm a bunch of stuff at the end of the day, what have you been doing? You've been sitting there clicking some buttons in front of your screen or holding your controller. But if playing in hardcore for you is actually more fun than playing in softcore, it might be, then I'm not going to talk you out of it. If you think it's going to be a chore and you're going to struggle and you're going to be sitting there sweating and panicking from one fight to the next, maybe don't do it. Right, let's do this properly. So get on the bridge, grab the lore note, read the lore note. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to stay one step ahead of the game. So play in normal and kill stuff and keep an eye on your health bar. Get to level 2. Whenever you do anything, either make sure there are no enemies in the immediate area or go somewhere where you know it's absolutely 100% safe. Don't do anything crazy like opening a devotion screen out in the world when there's things wandering around, because the screen will start flashing red and you might get killed before you come out of the screen. Now, I know a lot of guides for hardcore will be like, oh, you've got to overcap your resistances as soon as possible. Well, yeah, you've got to pay attention to the resistances, but for the first, I don't know how long, you know, don't go in here and think, oh no, all my resistances are 0, I'm going to get one-shotted. No, you're not. Not in normal, and not for a while, not until you go up against crazy strong totems or you decide to fight Warden Krieg on an unoptimized rubbish character. Do you need to put all your points into physique? You need to put some in there. It depends what build you go for. Most builds you're going to want to put most of your points in physique, get your defensive ability up. You want your defensive ability up so you don't get critted. Getting critted is more likely to kill you than having the odd dodgy resistance. But all of this stuff, it's all applicable to softcore, but it's not quite as important, because if you die in softcore, you can learn from the death and you can go, oh yeah, I died because my defensive ability was too low, or I stood on some dodgy ground, or I answered the phone when I should have been playing, or whatever. In hardcore, although you will learn those lessons, you'll have to start a new character, and that's a pain in the neck, right? So you don't want to be doing too much of that stuff. First recommendation, if you haven't already played through the majority of the content, like the campaign content, on softcore and acquired a certain degree of familiarity with the game, playing in hardcore it's going to be really difficult, and you are going to die when you enter into fights or areas that you're unfamiliar with. You don't know what the game is going to throw at you. You don't know what crazy tricks some boss is going to pull out of his hat. And all right, you can live on the edge playing hardcore like that. And if that's fun for you, do it. But what I did was, I did what most people do. I think I played the game a bit on softcore, then I thought, oh, let's try hardcore, thinking the experience overall is going to be totally different. It isn't. It's the same game. The only difference is that yeah, you've got one life. So if you know what's coming and you can prepare for it, that's going to be really good. There are some tricks that you can employ as well, like the kind of well-known thing where the game will take you up to the Warden Krieg fight for the end of Act 1. What most people will do is complete Act 1, kill Krieg, and then run across to the bridge over here and repair it and go into Act 2. Now, the only thing stopping you going over that bridge into Act 2 is your lack of scrap and iron bits. No scrap, no iron bits. However, as soon as you've got 6 scrap and 3,000 iron bits, you can repair that bridge and you can progress on into Act 2, where there is different loot dropping from different enemies. There are extra shrines. There are different things you can do, stuff you can pick up. You can go and start getting dynamite, and you can get all that stuff and do all that stuff before you go and kill Krieg. You can run all the way through Act 2 and kill Darius Cronley and go out into Twin Falls, get into the Arcadian Undercity, do a bunch of stuff before you kill Krieg, as long as you remember to eventually go back and kill him. Now, I used to do that all the time when I was doing hardcore stuff because I was so scared of the Krieg fight. The Cronley fight is not quite as dangerous as the Krieg fight. Cronley's tougher, and he's got a lot more health, I think, and he's got a protective sphere that will kick in after you've damaged him a bit. But mostly he just plods around, and you can kite him around and around and around in his little area, wearing down. He doesn't really have much of a ranged attack on him. Krieg is an overall harder boss. Cronley only has one real phase. I mean, he changes what he does and he says a few things, but Krieg, you kind of kill him once and then you have to kill him again. Cronley, you only have to kill him the one time. So yeah, depending on what's going on, I generally find the Cronley fight not as scary as the Krieg fight. What I've got to now, at the point now with familiarity and doing stuff in the game, I can create a build, and I will know at level 18 or whatever whether I'm going to be able to do Krieg, pretty much how quickly I'm going to be able to do Krieg, how risky it's going to be, because I've got a lot of familiarity with it. Now I'm not here going, oh yeah, I know everything. I know what the whole point is. If you play this game a lot and you try out all sorts of different builds and you learn a bunch of stuff, you'll get better at it, and you'll get to that point where you'll look at a character and you'll think, yeah, I'm going to kick Krieg's butt in 10 seconds, or this is going to be a 30-second fight. I'm going to have to face tank him real hard in phase 2, and you know all this stuff, and you know that he does piercing damage and ether damage and whatever, because you've looked it up on Grim Tools, or you've learned it, or someone's told you, or you've watched a video. So all of this is really just, you could summarize it and say, if you know what you're doing and you come into hardcore, you're going to have an easier time than if you don't know what you're doing. But what I'll do is I'll show you a few things that I tend to probably take for granted, but it'll be important stuff to know. First off, does it matter which class you pick? Easy time, fairly easy time, very easy time. Not sure, don't do much Nightblade as a first class. Arcanist, kind of okay, yeah. Shaman, you be okay. Inquisitor, pretty much word of pain it. Necro, I don't know, go pets. Oathkeeper, probably be okay. There's nothing really on there where I'd say, don't pick this class as a first mastery, you'll die. If you know what you're doing, you'll be fine. If you don't know what you're doing, maybe go Soldier and go Force Wave. I'll start another character in a bit, but I'm already regretting this. Oh, he didn't drop an item. Oh, thanks for that. Yeah, you don't really want Force Wave on there. What you'll notice, right, I'll show you Force Wave on right mouse button. If you hold it down, it does one and then it kind of waits. Whereas if you've got it on, I'm holding left button down now. If you've got it on left button, it will hit and then Force Wave will go off when it's cooled down. Yeah, make sure you swap your weapon when you get a chance. Read all the lore notes. Equip anything that's better than what you've got. I'm going to have to put move to on right. It's a bit awkward, but at the moment I'm not really doing anything particularly different from what you'd do if you were playing in softcore. Right, so I'd recommend if you want to be really belt and braces panicky, don't do level ups or anything until you're somewhere safe. Hopefully that makes sense. I want to get Blitz next. What you can do as well, I won't be able to afford any of this stuff, but if you can search for things that are going to buff your skills or whatever. You can look for resistances. 11% poison and acid, 13% fire, ether. Because although I'm not going to obsess about it, if you can buy stuff that's got high resistance to start with, you know, that's pretty good. What else did I want to look for on here? I don't know. Nothing much. I've got no money at the moment. Try and keep the fights as safe as you can. Don't face tank things early on if you don't have to. Right, so I feel reasonably safe. Looking at the inventory is okay because you can see around the screen, the panel that's open, you can see if anything's walking up. If you go into devotions, you can't see a damn thing. That's not safe. Don't do that if you can avoid it. Okay. I've got some reasonable. Oh, I got a health regen. Okay, health regen on soldier is good. If you get, because on soldier you're going to want to get health regen up. If you're doing melee, particularly if you're doing melee, go crazy for health regen. What you want to be doing is, if you're taking damage, you want your health regen to heal you quicker than the incoming damage. So if someone puts a damage over time or something on you, you can out heal it. I've kind of demonstrated that with the Retaliation Commando. Retaliation Commando would be a good character to do for your first hardcore character. I mean, I could demonstrate this as a first hardcore character. Maybe I'll do Retaliation on this thing and stick with it. I was gonna ditch soldier and do something else, but maybe I'll stick with it. Force wave's kind of okay for now. Leveled up. Okay, so I'm reasonably safe. I mean, there's nothing walking around. Like I said, you get the skill screen up, you can still see around you. You can see if anyone's walking up to have a go. I'm not going to bother with that. Menus will. See, that's a good one for hardcore. Activates when health drops below 33%. However, if you're playing a soldier build and your health regularly drops below 33%, you're doing something wrong. I would concentrate on damage at the start of the game and not worry too much about defense. Fighting Spirit, for example. It's a damage buff. Put 1 point in that. I know some of this might be a little bit contradictory, me saying don't worry about defense. Well, it's normal and it's the start of the game. If you somehow manage to get yourself killed in normal at the start of the game, maybe go and practice a bit more in softcore before you try hardcore out. And yeah, I put a rift down. That's not a safety rift. It's a slightly time-saving rift. Saves you about 2 seconds, because I'm going to go and rescue Faldis. I think I missed Faldis out of the Devil's Crossing video guide. Doesn't really matter, but he does appear in DC after you rescue him, so maybe I should have remembered to do this. Again, while you're doing this stuff and opening the map screen, make sure there's nothing running in through the door to kill you. Yeah, you can't do it on that screen. Wish you could map on the local screen, that would be pretty good. Just trying to aggro them to come out of the ground. Get as many kills in as I can. Yeah, if I'm just this actually, that's quite an interesting idea. If you set that up as weapon attack, you can shoot things without wasting force wave, and then use force wave, and it's actually going to be some benefit. Right, I'm fairly safe up here. I want to get to Blitz. Can I get to Blitz? Next level up. Yeah, actually. That feels a bit more intuitive now because it's actually set up as a skill, so I'm just using it as a skill. Keep an eye on how many tonic of mending you've got. I got 4. Obviously when you've leveled a character up and you started saving a couple of stacks of 100, I'd never keep more than 2 stacks of 100 of health pots or spirit pots. Don't go filling your stash up with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds because you don't need them. You really don't. Right, so if you can get through that fight without needing to use health potions, then you're doing okay. I've got a bunch of ether crystals. I need at least 5. How many have I got? I've got 4. Okay, I'll have 6 after I go down here. Because you want 1 for the shrine and you want 4, sorry, for the skill point quest. Right, immediately get the heck out of here. So what you want to do, you want to have some kind of a plan for your build. If you go with soldier, at least you can just waste everything in physique and not worry about it. Okay, I got a point in blitz. I've got 2 points left. I don't care about that. I'm going to get some into health regen. I use force wave for now, blitz. That's alright, gets your defensive ability up, boosts your damage, and then you've got, that's a damage thing. I'll probably go retaliation and pick that. I might actually go occultist second mastery and do something really stupid with retaliation. This is something I haven't done before. I've always wanted to do it, maybe I'll do that. Okay, so hardcore tip, this is probably the number 1 hardcore tip. Don't use personal stash for anything except quest items that you can't put in shared stash. Use shared stash, put everything in there. Once you start accumulating loads of ether crystals, put spare ones in here. Once you get loads of scrap, put spare scrap in here. Don't carry around like 100 odd scrap. If you've got 100, put 60 or 70 of it back in there. So if you die and your new character comes in, they'll already have a bunch of scrap and a bunch of ether crystals, later on dynamite, all sorts of different things. Keep it in shared stash. If you put anything in personal stash and this character dies, this is all gone. You don't get it back. You can't get at it, okay? Shared stash is there. If she dies and I create a new character, all this stuff in shared stash will still be here. Your shared stash is not shared between hardcore and softcore, just in case you didn't know that. They're separate, totally separate. This is just hardcore stuff. You can't put stuff in here on softcore and think, why isn't it there in hardcore? Because that's not how the game works. Right, let's try and sort out what gear I've got that's decent. So those aren't going to be... I'm going to keep the gun for now because it's kind of okay. I don't really want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. Poison damage, physical damage converted to acid. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll hang on to that for a bit. Vitality. Anything with attack damage converted to health would be good. I don't really want that. I'm not going to be a shaman. Don't want that. Yeah, it's just the same thing. So I'm just going to sell all this. It's the guy we rescued earlier. Pick up all this stuff. Milton's hat's pretty good for a soldier early on. Or late on, depends what you're going to do with it.
Greetings, child.
Yeah, whatever. So the main tip was use shared stash. Exclusively use shared stash. Don't put anything in personal stash. You will lose it when you die and you'll regret putting it in there. Let's get my skill point. I haven't got enough scrap for Barnabas, have I? 2? No. What I'll do, I'll progress on a bit to the point where I've got something useful to say. But for now, actually, let's call that the end of chapter 1 of this. I'll do this as a series. So yeah, if there's anything you want to call out, particularly if you want to criticise my hardcore opinions, I'd love that, because it's just me. Stick some stuff in comments. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? I'll try and answer them, or I'll read the comments and answer them in the next video. As always, thanks for watching this one, and I will catch you very soon in the next one.